This meeting is being recorded.
Okay.
Welcome back to A Plus Parents, everyone. And when we get to talk to our students, it's so cool. And when we get to talk to students who are up to really, really big things, super cool. So I have with me a mom and daughter, and I'm going to introduce you to Miss Aria Easter and her mom, Jan Easter. So you guys first, both welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here because of what you're up to in your life. So first of all, thanks for making your day work to be here, because I know, Aria, you're super busy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to tell people a little bit about you, and then you can share a little more about that. Okay. So Aria's 14 years old. She started homeschooling right after grade 5, and now she's a freshman in high school. She was born in Los Angeles, and she started swimming when she was 3 months old. So that's pretty amazing all on its own. And now she's here. She is a 14-year swimming veteran, which is really cool. And she's been doing competitive archery. And in that, she's looking at, from competitive archery, that she's training to be part of the 2028 Olympics, which are going to be in Los Angeles, which is close to home. And she's been doing our math program for the last 3 years. So just super cool. And something else I didn't know about you, you're also a PADI certified scuba diver. So you'll have to tell us. I used to remember what the letters PADI stood for. I don't know. I don't think I remember anymore. You surf. And you're working on writing out. You may not know what they stand for either, right? I know it has something to do with the open water, but I can't remember all the letters for PADI. But and you're writing a novel. So, oh my goodness. So here you are training to be an Olympian, not just in one sport, but in 2. So how'd we do? Is that kind of you? Did that tell you a little bit, tell everybody about who you are?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay. Well, very cool. And so you know about Jan as well. Jan is a professional photographer, right? So she has a photography business and a homeschool mom. So we've got a busy family that's hanging out with us today. So super, super cool. So we're just so delighted that you guys were able to make this work. And I know we were trying to work out schedules, and it's kind of funny. Usually people are trying to work around my schedule. I was trying to work around your schedule so that we could make this happen. So really glad that we were doing that. Yeah, so it's great. So Aria, let's just see. So you've been swimming since 3 months old, and you're training to do competitive archery. So tell me a little bit about what is your day like? What does your day look like? Because you're super busy in all the work that you're doing, plus you've got homeschooling and everything else on top of that. What's the day in the life of Aria look like? Like from the time that you're up in the morning till when you're completely exhausted and ready for bed, right?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So in the morning, I got up at 5 so I can be at the pool, and I swim for about 2 hours. And I work with my coach, Coach Wilma. She coached Jamal Hill, and he's a Paralympic archer. And
No, swim. Sorry, swim. Oh my goodness.
Swimmer.
Get those all back and forth, right? Yeah.
He's a swimmer, and he's a bronze and silver medalist in Tokyo.
Wow.
2020 Olympics. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Isn't that cool? So you have somebody who's already taken somebody to the Olympics, who's done well, who placed and got a bronze and silver medal, and now you get to work with her. How cool is that? Go Coach Wilma. That's super cool, right?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So that's 5 in the morning, right? And so here you are, you're swimming, and then what happens?
Then during the day, I have class. I have Mr. D, and I have all other cool classes. And then towards the evening or afternoon, I'll go to archery for 2 hours, and I'll work with my coach, Coach Mike, at Pasadena Roving Archers. My shirt.
Right.
I'm with the JOADS, which is the Junior Olympic Archery Development Team. And I train with them for approximately 2 hours. And then I come home, eat dinner, and then go to sleep.
I bet, right? Oh my goodness, up at 5 and doing 2. I mean, one sport is hard enough. And I know people that are interested in the Olympics like you are, knowing that they're up at 5 in the morning is not unusual. But doing it for 2 sports, that's like, wow, it's really wow. So, oftentimes when young people discover that they have this passion and they have this athletic ability and they're interested in, being an Olympian, that homeschooling just becomes a really good way to do things because it fits in your schedule. But that's not really how you discovered homeschooling. So tell us a little bit about homeschooling for you, about what it's like and how you became a homeschooler, and then what it's like for you now to be able to use homeschooling as the way that you do schooling so that you can do all the things that you're up to in your life. So I know that's a super long question. Let me start again, right? Tell me about how you became a homeschooler. Let's start there, right?
Yeah. So I had a friend a friend who was doing homeschooling while I was in regular school. And she had told me about like how much like easier it is to have a schedule, to do things at your own pace, and to be able to not have to worry about the pressure of turning it in every single day and going home and they're doing all this homework for hours and then going back to school the next morning and then doing it again. So I guess her mom talked to my mom, and then yeah.
It was like the busy work. If I can interject, there was so much. It felt like in regular school, it was less about, in this particular case, less about what they were learning and more about proving to teachers that it was being satisfied. But they were they were doing it with so many kids at the same time, the same way, that the ability to customize the plan was missing for an individual child. So then you'd find she was bored. She was coloring little pictures on her math papers and things like that. And they would say, well, she doesn't understand. And it wasn't that she didn't understand. It was that she was like, her mind was elsewhere because it wasn't compelling. It was kind of boring. And we found these other differences in her learning style. So we were trying to figure it out. And it turned out that homeschooling let her customize learning. So she ended up learning way, way more. And as soon as she started homeschooling, she jumped 2 years ahead in math. And I was not her teacher. She went through math courses and was able to function on a higher level because it was targeted for her. So
Wow.
the busy work was gone.
Right. You said something really great too, because I think parents discover something when you said learning styles. And it's one of the things that, when you're in a classroom and you've got 30, 35 kids in there, right? While a teacher is really looking at, wouldn't it be great if we could work with each individual's learning style? They can't. And
Exactly.
so for them, they're not even looking because it's not really going to make a difference. And sometimes, and I have met teachers that do look there and they're really interested, but it's hard. It's really, really hard. But for our homeschool families, yeah, it's like, because you notice, it's like, well, she has a learning style. And because you can discover her learning style, it customizes the way that she learns so that she can do exactly what you said. She's 2 years ahead of where she was in a short amount of time. So that's really great. And how cool that you got to see that for yourself. Okay, so Aria, you say that Mr. D Math, like our program, like we've helped you with archery and swimming. So how does that happen? Tell me about that.
So Mr. D Math has helped me so much because it's given me like a chance to do it on my own time. Like, sure, I have a live class, but like that helps me tremendously. But it's given me like high quality work, like wherever. Like if I travel for tournaments in other states or countries, I'm able to do it on my own time and get it done correctly instead of having to be like confined to a classroom and a deadline that's like important for you, that'll go in your transcript. But it's a lot easier to do this as well as archery and swimming.
Oh, that's awesome. So the whole being flexible, and then it's so great because you travel and you're on the road and you're doing different things and you're in the middle of a competition. You're like, oh my gosh, wait, I got to stop and I got to do this math paper and I got to, it's like, no, you know what? I'm going to do my competition. I'm going to do amazing. And then I'm going to get the math done too. So I love that. All right. So, oh, sure. Go ahead, Jan. Yeah.
Your program is set up so that it has everything in it. You have help if you need it. You have tests, you have quizzes, you have feedback. It gives you see the information right there. It's broken down in categories. So as a parent, you can look at it and know, okay, this is where they are. And it gives you a lot more accountability than I have found in scenarios in the classroom where they have a textbook and they go away to school and then you don't know what's going on. You see the test, if they send it back, if it comes out of the backpack and that kind of thing. This is more interactive. So I think I find it it's more informational and more helpful so that if she is having the difficulty, I can pinpoint right where it is, and make it figure out a way like, okay, do we need to talk to tutoring time, or do we need to spend more time on this subject, or, do we need to contact Mr. D or Mr. H and see, what we can do here. So it gives more information back than I've ever had.
No, I love it. That's so great. So, Aria, do you know why we all have those first letter names? Like I'm Mr. D and there's Mr. H and we have a Mrs. C and a Mrs. B.
Oh, no, I do not.
So it's actually kind of funny. It all started with me because no one could say my last name. My last name's Denoya. Everybody struggled with that and they couldn't say it. And then, so everybody just called me Mr. D. And then Mr. Henderson, Mr. H, he was one of the first teachers that came to work with us. That was, oh my goodness, almost 10 years ago when he first started working with us, right? And so I thought, you know what, we're going to call you Mr. H. And that's how it started, because we tell people we're like the Men in Black. That's us. So do you remember that movie, The Men in Black, right? And so we're out to defend the world for, people doing math and doing great things. And so it just became funny. Everybody that comes to work with us, we're like, well, you only can work with us if your name starts with a different letter than someone else, or otherwise we can't have two Mr. H's, right? You're only one. So yeah, so that's a funny thing about our name. So we just thought, and you know what? It's kind of fun for you guys too, as students. It's like, because like, oh, Mr. H, man, that's kind of cool. I like that. So I think he's kind of grown into it too, which is good. So I like that. Okay, so you love archery, you love swimming, you do both of these sports, and they're very, very different, right? So why is it that you love those particular things? Because there's all kinds of things you could be doing. What is it about those two that you love so much about archery and swimming?
Well, to be honest, archery, I feel like itself has its like own appeal. Like every time you're like, oh my gosh, that is so cool, I want to do that. And so when I do it, I feel like I'm this strong warrior or something. I'm like gonna defend my castle from these evil villains, and it's awesome. It makes me focused, and it's awesome. I can't even like express how amazing I think it is. And for swimming, I think it's the same thing, and it always helps me become focused, because like as I'm swimming, it's just me and the water, and it's awesome. It's like you can feel like it's almost like running, feeling like the breeze in your face, except at the water, which is so much cooler. And I've always loved the water, so I love them. I just love them so much.
Wow, that's really awesome. And I saw a video of you doing an archery competition, and I was watching. I was like, man, that was quite a contraption. It was some kind of a crossbow kind of thing you were using. I was like, that's so cool. So I know you have an Instagram. You have an Instagram channel. Do you put your competition videos up there too? So if people want to see more about you, they can see that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And
Okay.
and it was a Olympic recurve bow.
Yeah, Olympic recurve bow. We don't
Oh.
allow crossbows at our range. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Well, what we're going to do in the show notes, we'll actually put the link to that so people can follow you and see the things that you're up to, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, because that brings me to you, Jan, as mom, being a professional photographer, right? And it's like we were talking before we started the recording, we were talking about what it's like, knowing that you're kind of like the historian, right? You said something to me earlier, and I really wanted you to share that again, because for people that are doing what you do as a parent, and, Aria's up at 5 a.m. and Aria's 14. She's not driving to practice. You're up and you're getting her to practice, right? And taking her, and she's traveling and she's doing all these competitions. You're on the road with her and you're going to all these different places and traveling and doing all these things. as a parent, it is a huge commitment just on your own part. So what keeps you going? Because you do get to, you're the historian of everything and seeing all that. You shared something really great about that, but just tell us a little bit about what it's like for you as a mom and seeing her and watching her grow, but also some of those times when you're like, oh my gosh, here we go again, right?
It's really interesting. I love doing it. It's exciting to watch her grow and exciting to watch her change. And sometimes I find that it's, as a photographer, I'm really happy that I always have taken a lot of pictures and a lot of videos. And as she's developing as an athlete, it's fun to look at them. It helps me to engage because I can look at where she started, from, ducky swimming, motorboat, blah, 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 and you're making bubbles, to actually doing strokes and trying to get to something really great like the Olympics. Same with archery. But having the pictures helps me to engage and stay, like on those days when I'm tired from driving like 6 hours to get to a tournament and it's super hot, I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Well, having that kind of journal of everything is really, it's really helpful to make me excited and say, hey, here's where she started and look how far she's come. And for her, I think it helps too, because looking back and saying, hey, a year ago, or like a year and a month ago was her first tournament ever. And in that time, she went from, when you start, you try tournaments to see how it feels, to see what you like. And you pretty much barely hit the bail, like you're not even hitting the target, you're barely hitting the bail. And to go in 1 year to contention for something that's great, like the Olympics, like she just made, tell them.
Yeah, so in April, I'll be going to the US team trials. And then after that, when I make it, I'll go to Ireland and compete in the World Championships.
That's the hope.
Wow.
That's the goal. And also she made the USA Archery Regional Elite Development Team. She had a qualifying score and was accepted onto the team. So she'll be training with some of the top coaches in the country, training where members of the United States Olympic team train. And who knows, the sky's the limit,
Wow. That is so great. It's so great. Jan, how do you see how homeschooling has really given you given Aria the ability to be able to do these things that she loves? Because, if she was in a public school, it would be harder to manage the schedule and do all the things, and you're traveling and all the things. But even just being up at 5 a.m. and then, 7 o'clock, you're heading to a class, heading to a school to drop her off. But how's homeschooling kind of shifted for you to see and open up all these things that she has opportunities now that she may not have had otherwise?
It's done a huge amount. We actually have friends who try to do one sport with regular school or traditional school, and every time we talk to them, we feel really grateful that we're in homeschool because, for instance, some schools require certain PE courses, and if we're training at this level where you're in a pool for 2 hours and then on an archery range for 2 hours, that's 4 hours of athletic performance a day. If you add another PE class to that, you kind of burn out your body. You can have fatigue, and then you also have homework. She has homework, but we're balancing everything and we're able to be in control of how the schedule is manifested. So the middle of the day is school, and we have school in there. We have breaks for lunch. We have, time to just unwind. But the focus of how we do everything is flexible and up to us. And I don't think she could do this any other way. I don't see how it would be possible.
Yeah.
Even with one sport, it would be a struggle.
I have a friend actually that I talked to earlier, and they are trying to do 2 sports. They're trying to do archery and badminton. And so they go to a regular school, and I asked them like what time they're going to be at the range, and they said that they won't be able to except for Saturday, which is the JOAD day that we all come to practice as a team. Because and I asked them like why can't you come? And they said because they have school during the day, and then they have 2 hours of badminton after school, and then they have homework, and then by then it's already too late to go outside to practice because it's dark, and then you have to go to sleep, and you can't wake up too early because you have a full day of school, and that's stressful enough as it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, that's okay. So here you are. And there's probably some young people, Aria, that are listening right now. And they're thinking to themselves, I want to do that. Right. So
You should.
I agree, right? What message, because there's moms listening too, right? And they're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how I could make all that work. So what would you tell parents? So you're gonna be the parent, the mom coach right now. What would you tell parents who have kids who want to be student athletes? What advice do you have for other moms out there?
I think to like to listen to like which sports that your kids like, especially because throwing them into random sports is not going to be as fun as going to one that you really really love, because if you love it, you'll want to do it and you'll want to make it work and you'll want to see how it'll fit into your schedule. And honestly, sometimes it's hard sometimes to get all my stuff in together because there's not a lot of hours in the day, but I love archery and I love swimming, and getting my homework done is a number one thing because I want to be both good at school and good in archery and swimming. And I think one of the most important things is making sure you're happy, because if you're not happy, it's not gonna work. Like if you don't feel like it's gonna work, then it's not going to work. And that's one of the things that I've learned from archery and swimming, that you have to have the right mindset and you have to believe it, because if you do not believe it, like even an inkling, it's not going to happen.
That is so great. And you know what? It made me think of something. I asked you earlier how our math program, how Mystery Math helped you with archery and swimming, but I think the question should be reversed, right? So how is it that archery and swimming has helped you as a student?
Well, yeah, that's actually I had
good
meant to say it
question.
earlier. Archery and swimming have helped me so much with mental management and being focused and organized. And that's one of the most important things, especially as a homeschooler trying to do two sports, but in homeschooler in general, being organized and focused is one of the main things that you will definitely need. It's also one of the things that you learn through homeschooling, but I think it's amplified more during sports, and like especially archery and swimming, where it's mostly like yoga during like archery, because it's just you and your bow, and it's not like a team sport, so you're there like on your own. And it has helped me so much, like immensely, with homeschooling and Mr. D, because it has helped me get organized and plan out my time, and I am able now to get my stuff done in a timely fashion and still have time to relax and have time for other classes.
Wow, that's really awesome. I just love that. And there's something else you said, and I think that it's so natural for you, right? And I'm going to say this because you're doing something you love to do. And I think sometimes that we don't get the chance, we get so caught up in doing the things that we think we have to do. And the things we love to do, we'll do after we get all the things done that we have to do. Right. But I think that what you're pointing to is that when you're doing the things you love to do, the things you have to do go a lot easier and a lot smoother because you're getting to do the things you love to do too. So would you agree with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
very much
And
so.
for you, that's like, well, of course, duh. Like, why wouldn't everybody do that? Right? So,
Yeah.
so it's really, really great. So, okay. So how often do you get to tell your mom, thank you for being a great homeschool mom and being the one taking the road warrior, getting you to all these places? Do you get to tell her thank you enough?
No, not nearly as much as I should.
Oh, well, do you want to tell her right now?
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing everything, for like driving me and getting me out the door and allowing me to have the resources that I have to do these things.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and
You're
your
welcome.
mind and your brain.
You're welcome. She's a good kid.
Yes, she is.
She's a
Absolutely.
lot of fun to watch too.
Well, and you know what's really cool? So, when we record these, right? So we record these and then we go through with our producer and they do all the stuff they do, right? So here's what's really great. We're actually recording this on Valentine's Day. So what a great way for you all to get to spend Valentine's Day by really getting to be with each other and being with us and being with all our listeners out there. So, I think what we'll do, we'll tell everybody happy Valentine's Day, even though when they hear this, it already past Valentine's Day. But knowing that we got to just see you two together today and just watch, a mom and daughter and the homeschooling world and being able to do everything that you're doing and that you're taking on the world. Like, I can't wait to, 2028. It's like, that's not that far away, right? We're going to see you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that. So it's really great. And what we'll do is we'll make sure everybody can have access to, seeing how it's going for you and all those good things. So we'll get that up there. And Aria, if it's okay, I want to come back again and we'll come back and do this again. We can kind of check in and see. So April's the timeline when you'll find out about the US team. And so we'll come back and we'll do this again so we can find out what it's like and what you're doing to get ready to go to Ireland. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Jan and Aria, thank you so much for making your time work today. And for everybody listening, thanks for tuning in to A+ Parents. We're so excited you're here and, and finding out and discovering the world of homeschooling, because what it opens up is doing the things you love to do and having that be your lifestyle. So I just think that's so great. Okay, everyone, thanks again. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.